Hey, I'm going to share the November monthly mini lessons for writing unit with you today. I get asked this question quite frequently on my Q&As. Can you give me an example of what a lesson is? Is it enough for an entire month of mini lessons? And I want to show you. And yes, it certainly is. So what we're going to do is just look at what you get. Now I've printed this and it's in black and white, but obviously when you print, you would choose what you wanted to be in color. Okay, all right, so in November, all of our lessons will be focusing on the voice, writing voice. So it gives you an explanation of that, the standards that will be covered, and I have both Common Core and Antiques. So these are the lessons that you will be doing in November. What is voice? And then we break it down: voice through feelings, voice through word choice, voice through senses, a head-to-toe voice writing. Then we do America the Brave, which is going to be a research report, which is going to go back to creating a topic sentence, 3 details, and a closing. And then we take a little side trip and do a trip to the moon, which is a writing and craft activity, 2 parts, and then a fun talking turkey lesson near near Thanksgiving. So each one of these it can be one day, but many of these you're going to do over a couple of days, even over a week if it's more involved with a craft. So that's why you're usually given around 8 lessons, because to fill the entire month, and you would probably not even get to all of these if you're taking some of them all the way through the writing process or adding the craft component. Not all of them have a craft, but a couple per unit do. So the first one will be what is voice, and the way the lesson plans flow is it gives you a general breakdown of the lesson plan by minute. This is your mini lesson here, and then there's always a writing expectation for students with your standards here. If there are mentor texts for that lesson, it gives you that here on the side. So in the mini lesson, you'll be modeling how to cover the expectation on what is voice, and it gives you kind of a script of what to say, and then it gives you the breakdown of what the students will go then and do in the independent writing portion. And then for each lesson you get a writing template, and I have both the handwriting lines as well, this would make a booklet, as well as the solid. Now when you go to run your paper, you could simply just run the 1 page. For students who you know that's plenty, you can also run the second one and explain that this could potentially become a little booklet. It's up to you. So what I do is I run all of the paper for the entire unit, and I have it in my writing center for the whole month, and I let them choose any paper that fits how they're feeling about what they want to write. The next one is voice through feelings. It's the same idea. I've got my lesson plan broken down by minute, my mini lesson for me to know what to say and what to do, and then the expectation for the students and what they are going to do. These would be in color, and I would laminate them, and we would have those in the pocket chart. It goes along with that mini lesson. And then again, there's a different type of writing paper, and this one shows that you're cutting. So I try to mix it up each month so students are excited, because the paper isn't the same day after day after day. And again, there's always that extension. Then there's always those classes that don't want the dotted handwriting lines. Next we have voice through word choice, and we're using the book I Stink. And this is an awesome mentor textbook lesson about word choice. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to let students experiment with their own word choice. Again, you choose the paper that works best for you, and I let my students choose. Next, we have kind of a 2-in-1. This one is a lesson about senses, and we're going to use my favorite meal. And then as an extension, and if you are allowed to celebrate, there is a Thanksgiving version of the favorite meal lesson with a craft that makes a turkey. So it's kind of a 2-in-1. You don't have to do this, but you certainly could. So again, these would be in color, and this would take you through the mini lesson. Then it's my favorite meal, writing, and that will turn into, if you want it to, you can use that to springboard into this writing craft, and it's about word choice. So that all goes along with our theme, and then it gives you the template if you want to do that craft as well. Next we have head to toe writing using voice. So this one is going to use animal pictures. You can just use, Google images of animals. I like to also choose picture books where they're describing the animals, and that's going to give you a lot of great voice and word choice examples, and you'll see that in the mini lesson and then the expectation for students. And I wanted to share the templates for this one. So I provide different templates of how they're going to be using that. So they're choosing their animal and then their descriptive words for that animal, and that's going to help them build a piece of writing using a lot of great word choice and voice. And it's about kind of how does the animal move, how does the animal look, and then the way you write will flow with that type of animal. So the animal would go here, the writing would go here. And we move into America the Brave. This one is kind of a detour from our lessons on voice. However, we're going to always be using those skills as we move through. So this one is about voting, armed forces, men and women in the military, veterans, all of those wonderful things. They're going to be choosing a topic. When you have an already finished Writer's Web, the way that we do this is if it's a solid circle, those are required. If it's a dotted line circle, those are optional or extra above the standard. So they must have their topic and their 3 supporting details, but they can also do extra if they're wanting to. And then for more open-ended Writer's Web, you can use this one. So it's the same idea, except this is going to give a little more challenge for students who are ready. And then I have different options depending on what they chose to be their topic. And also plain if you want to go kind of on your own on that. And then with the writing lines. Next, we have 2 parts for a trip to the moon. So this one, we're going to be incorporating what we know about word choice and voice. And we're going to be creating a really fun craft that goes along with this writing. So this kind of, I take them through the entire writing process on this. That's by choice. You can do that with any of these, but I certainly do with this one. It's one of my favorites. So for the first part of the lesson, they are going to think about some items that are most important to them that they would definitely want to take if they were going on a trip to the moon. We talk about the conditions on the moon. We talk about the conditions. We watch videos about going to the moon. We read books. So the first part of the lesson is making a list, what's important to me and why. And then they also do a paint. They paint this. You can choose to color or paint. I even have done like silver glitter over the paint sometimes when I want to go all out. By the way, that's the moon. Next, part 2, they're going to actually create their sentences about going to the moon. This is where they're telling about their journey, why they chose the item, and using voice. After they do their writing, you will have their little faces in a rocket, their pictures, and then they get to color, and I like to do like orange glitter here or red for the fire, and then it makes the cute, I don't know if you saw it, and it would be in color. There's the moon, the face, the rocket, and the words. Okay, and then finally, we are going to wrap it up with Talking Turkey. Now this one, it can be a 3-dayer. You can choose to skip steps. You can choose to do 1 step. You can do all of it. This I do kind of that, close to Thanksgiving break. And it's that same flow. So we're doing expository writing about turkeys, turkey facts. So we're learning about the bird. It's not necessarily related to Thanksgiving. It's more just understanding turkeys. And then here, they can do their 3 topics. They can do all 6, but they're writing a sentence for each one of their brainstorming facts that goes here. And if you want, they can then write those facts out on the fun turkey. I've done this in the past where I've used, done a turkey craft and used construction paper for feathers, and they wrote their sentences. You can go as crazy as you would like. Oh, and then this is just showing you that I also give you some extra templates in the unit to put in your writing center, just as a way to differentiate for students who need that. So that's it. That's the entire unit. That's 1 month for November of writing mini lessons. So there's one for each month. That'll carry you all the way through the year.